Yes, I do feel like I was Nigerian, and I've always felt Nigerian from the moment that I was born. It's not just because of the opportunity that was presented to me, and I think people who have known me will see that I've always embodied that spirit of being a pure, proudly Nigerian woman. So I don't want people to feel like she only feels Nigerian just because, she was offered an opportunity. I've always been proudly Nigerian, and I'll still be proudly Nigerian as well.
A few moments later.
We are outside the Cape Town Regional Court where former Miss SA participant and former Miss Universe Nigeria, Chidimma Adetshina, again appeared fighting against her detention by Home Affairs as they process her deportation. Home Affairs wants Chidimma to be detained while they are processing her deportation. They have argued that she is in the country illegally and there is no reason why she should not be detained. They argue that Chidimma has a Nigerian passport for herself and her son, and that she used those documents to travel to Nigeria. Her participation in the Miss Universe representing Nigeria has come back to haunt her as those passports were presented here today in court. Chidimma's lawyers argued that she is a South African. She has a South African accent and was born in the country. Her life is in South Africa, not in Nigeria. They have asked that the court considers allowing her to stay in the country and not be detained while they proceed with an application in the High Court where they are challenging her deportation. There was a group of March and March supporters who were outside the court while proceedings were going on. They came to say that Chidimma must leave the country because she is in the country illegally. They have accused her and her mother of being involved in fraud. The case was postponed to 19 August where judgment will be given whether Chidimma should be detained or be allowed to wait until her deportation processes are finalized.
Hello everyone, Adetshina and welcome to my channel. So Miss Universe Nigeria 2024 Chidimma Adetshina returned to Cape Town Regional Court a few days ago. One of the arguments made by her legal team was that she does not have meaningful ties to Nigeria. Now that argument has kept her trending for days, with social media bringing back interviews in which she says the exact opposite. So her back-to-back interviews about how awesome Nigeria is, how she has always felt Nigerian even while in South Africa, and how she would return to Nigeria once her South African documents were sorted out, have now come back to haunt her badly. Someone said, if Nigeria was meaningful enough to crown you, Chidimma, illegally so, how can it now be meaningless in court?
So Chidimma's lawyers argue that she doesn't have legitimate ties with Nigeria. My dear Chidimma and her supporters, help me make sense of this. When South Africa wasn't an option, Nigeria was good enough to represent. When immigration law became an issue, suddenly Nigeria has no meaningful ties. If Nigeria was meaningful enough to represent at Miss Universe, if Nigeria was meaningful enough to accept its crown, if Nigeria was meaningful enough to carry its flag before the world, if Nigeria was meaningful enough to crown you, Chidimma, Miss Universe, illegally so, how can it now be meaningless in court? Then how can it suddenly have no meaningful ties when immigration status is being challenged? My dear fellow Africans, we have taken South Africa long enough for a ride. We have taken their kindness for weakness long enough, to the point that the entitlement is alarming.
Another grave mistake Chidimma Adetshina made was getting Nigerian passports for herself and her son in 2024 instead of exercising her legal right to respond after her South African documents were cancelled by default when her mother, Annabella Rungo, was charged with identity theft dating back to 2001. She did eventually apply for a South African visa while in Nigeria, but her application was rejected because she allegedly used a fraudulent bank statement and ended up being declared a prohibited person. Instead of challenging that decision legally whilst in Nigeria, she allegedly returned to South Africa through the Mozambican border illegally, presenting herself as a South African. So her decision to obtain those Nigerian passports is now haunting her because Home Affairs presented them in court to argue that she was not stranded. She was able to travel to Mexico using those Nigerian documents to represent Nigeria in the Miss Universe pageant. She then traveled to to Mozambique last year, where she allegedly entered South Africa illegally, so she is not stranded. By the way, the actual reason Chidimma Adetshina is now facing detention and deportation is not whether she was born in South Africa or not, or whether she has been naturalized or not, but the alleged transgressions she committed after her South African documents were cancelled, namely submitting a fraudulent bank statement while applying for a South African visa which God had declared as a prohibited person, and then allegedly returning to South Africa illegally via the Mozambican border. Remember, she was given 3 full months after Home Affairs cancelled her South African documents. This was when arguments like being born in South Africa or being naturalized were needed. Another issue that is attracting attention is Chidimma Adetshina's lawyer Stefanie de Saude-Darbandi. In 2024, she publicly wrote that Chidimma could still qualify for South African citizenship under Section 4, subsection 3 of the Citizenship Act. Fast forward to 2025, her law firm de Saude Darbandi Immigration Attorneys ended up representing Chidimma's mother and now represent Chidimma Adetshina herself, all for free apparently. Some people have now questioned whether this is a conflict of interest because she also serves on the Minister of Home Affairs Immigration Advisory Board while representing 2 clients in a case against the Department of Home Affairs. By the way, Chidimma and her mother are the 2 clients that we know of because their cases gained popularity, but her law firm could be representing many others in a similar situation as Chidimma and her mother against Home Affairs, yet serving as a member of the Immigration Advisory Board, advising the government or Home Affairs on immigration policy.
Chidimma Adetshina. Chidimma Adetshina, how many times I call you? So after the Nigerian government help you and they give you that title of Nigeria Most Beauty Queen, now you still go back to South Africa. You sue the South African government to court that you want to be a South African citizen by force. Chidimma Adetshina is an Igbo name from Nigeria. Tell your father to take you to where he came from. Your father is from Nigeria, so automatically you are from Nigeria. It is not by force to stay in another man's country. This one, I'm supporting South Africa. They should arrest Chidimma Adetshina and send her back to her father's country, which is Nigeria. And number 2, Chidimma Adetshina, you see that crown, Nigeria Most Beauty, that they give to you. I'm giving you 24 hours to return that crown to Nigeria. Since you say you want to become a South African citizen by force, return that crown to Nigeria before I will send thunder that will fire you. What kind of foolish and stupidity is this? You are from Nigeria, you are taking South African government to court that you want to be a South African citizen by force because that is where they gave out to you. Your father is from South Africa. Your father is from Nigeria. If you don't want to come to Nigeria, if you don't want to stay in Nigeria, you can go to Iraq, go to Afghanistan, go to Pakistan, go and stay there. What kind of foolishness is this one? I give you 24 hours to return that crown, or else thunder when you get better and I will fire you.